Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Service Without Excuses podcast. Hope you had an awesome weekend. It's a Monday, and it's another day of opportunity. Appreciate you guys being here today. We want to thank our sponsor, Sotellus. You can go to sotellus.com/Rob Lyon, and you can check out an incredible demo of how this program works. We use it in our own business, New Jersey's Best. It is how we collect reviews and get the feedback from our customers, not just if we do something right, but also if we do something wrong and we have the ability to fix it. So it's a pretty awesome tool. Again, get a chance to check it out. We want to welcome our guest here this evening. Daniel, what's going on, my friend? How are you?
Hey, Rob. Thanks for having me. I'm doing well. Appreciate it.
Thanks. And yeah, like you just said, it's kind of nice in Nashville. Nashville's one of my favorite places to be at. I'm a musician, and you can't just be like, I was a New York musician, and a New York musician, Nashville musician are two entirely different things. Number one, they have two different types of ways they actually read music. They don't read charts like they do in New York. They have their own system for doing it. It's a number system. And it's
really
awesome. The people down there are very different, but if I was to say which town was the most talented, I got to go with Nashville. The players that come down to Nashville are in a different league. The players in New York are in a different league too, but it's just a different animal. Same thing with Los Angeles, but Nashville is Music City for a reason. It really has the greatest music scene just about in the entire country and probably the world for that matter. So thank you so much again for being here. Daniel is the CEO, if I have that right. Do I have that saying or whatever you want to call it?
Correct. Yeah, whatever you call me.
Head honcho of Send Gym and also Automate Motivate, a company that's also a sister brand company to that. We're going to talk a little bit about more in Automate Motivate tonight. We've already talked about Send Gym, but I do want to rehash it a little bit. I think Send Gym, when I had Josh on here before, it was pretty remarkable how that whole program works and how you can work in an area and target down literally who you want to work with, which is remarkably different than the past where you'd have to do checker campaigns of this and mail campaigns and pray, maybe put a flyer out, maybe, put things on people's cards. Those days are done. They're gone. Thank God we have a better way to do it right now. And Daniel, can you please introduce yourself and tell our listeners a little bit more about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Daniel. Like you said, I appreciate the introduction, Rob. I lead a company called Service Moxie. They have two brands, like you mentioned, Send Gym and Automate Motivate. Going way, way back, I got out of college, went into the Air Force, was a military officer. And then after I was done serving, got my MBA, went into corporate business consulting. But I really found a passion for entrepreneurship. My parents were entrepreneurs. And they said, go get an easy job, like go get a job in corporate America, sit at a desk, get a pension, all those type of things. And I did that, and I was really not engaged. It was just like, I wasn't excited to go to work, etc. So I started a small carpet cleaning business, got involved in the home service community, met some people. They invited me to consult on the side for Service Moxie, and then I became the CEO at Service Moxie, and then since then I even have a garage floor coating business. So I'm totally ingrained in the industry. I understand the problems and challenges and success that you guys have. So super familiar with it, and just really thankful to be here.
Well, I appreciate that. One of the reasons that I like talking to Josh, and I'm a big believer, huge believer, if you've ever listened to anything I've ever talked about in the many podcasts I've done, is automation, and to things. If you don't do something really, really well, you should farm that out. You should send that out to somebody else. And I think in the business we're in today, like for example, I was at the Experience this past weekend. I'm listening to a gentleman talk about how two of the biggest perfect cleaning franchises in the country are now going with automated booking software. I'm not talking like your regular Stanley Steamer, go in, put your rooms. This is an automated system that walks you from A to Z and you book a full job, easy as can be, and done. What that tells me in the rise of growth with these two major chains now, working with programs like this is you have to automate your business. You have to get it so systematized. Like I am in the belief you have to talk to somebody, you have to sell it to them. They hear your passion, they hear what you're going to do. And yes, I think that's very important. I think they need to be able to get you on the phone at the end of the day. But I also believe it's kind of the same philosophy, and you have this, you run your own business, you have employees that are out there, and you believe in the beginning it has to be you, and people have that rapport with you. And all they have to know at the end of the day is they can get you on the phone. They don't necessarily have to have you doing the cleaning or you doing this or you being on every single job, because you can't feel that way. Nobody can grow a business that way. So I really do believe automating something, no matter what it is, like SendGym, looking at the program, have the ability to autopilot businesses is what I was looking for. Some type of autopilot way of doing it where now you can run your company and run its different divisions, not just divisions of cleaning or whatever your business is, HVAC, plumbing, whatever it happens to be, but you have the ability to take the business and say, there is 8 pieces of this pie. This part is engine, this part is hotels, this part is our booking software, this part is this part is our training module. That's the way I believe. I don't believe it. I feel it wholeheartedly, but that's the way business is going to go in the future, especially in the service.
Yeah, absolutely. So, two things there. Not only is it the way to run a business so that the business doesn't run you, right? Like, so many people go into business because they want freedom of time eventually, and possibly financial freedom. I think both of those are super powerful. And that's, why I went into business. But if anyone started a business, you're probably listening to this podcast and you realize like very easily the business can run you. So you are super busy as a small business owner and you need to automate as much as you can, and you'll still be really busy. But, every little bit you can take off your plate is huge. The second thing is our customers are changing. Their demographic, the way they behave, what they prefer is totally changing. I saw a thing, and I'll misquote it, but you'll get the idea, is that, 80% of people would rather book, through a website or without talking to somebody, right? And like the days of like, oh yeah, just call me and pick up the phone and, have a good conversation, like you said, and share your passion and they'll choose you, are gone. People like the younger generation, they want to book online. They don't like talking on the phone. They like texting. If they can get a price without ever seeing you, like that's more power to you, right? So there's those two things, and both of them are saying like automation is the key. So, definitely keep that in mind, is that like as our demographic changes and the population gets younger, the younger person's going to expect more and more to be done on their phone and online and without actually talking to somebody.
Yeah, just think about it for a second. To our listeners that listen to this, do more people text today than call? It's 100%.
Yep.
Absolutely text more. So they are more into, and I think about it, and my technicians, almost all of my technicians are millennial generation or younger. And they totally communicate like that. They're not sitting there talking on the phone. They're barely even doing what we're doing right now. So
right.
I sure don't want to, do that. And listen, it's not like a hidden secret. Our pricing, you call me and my pricing is pretty open. It's transparent. We don't have any hidden charges, as I'm sure you don't or most of our listeners don't have. It's very upfront pricing. So my thought, I really had to struggle with this. I'm listening to this gentleman saying, well, next generation and probably your employees' generation, they want to book online. That's the way it's going to be done. And it really had to hit me like I'm riding home from Charleston going, come on, really? Does it really become that? And then I think to myself, where do you buy most of your goods from? Amazon.
Right.
You call the store to see if they have something in stock. Yes, when you need it right now. But when you don't need it right now, you go to Amazon and go, click. I mean, Amazon has a platform itself to book carpet cleaning through. I mean, it is the world we're in today, and embracing those automation processes, automation systems, so to speak, are important. So please tell our listeners a little bit more about Automate Motivate. What is that all about?
Yeah, Automate Motivate is a platform that helps engage your employees and create a really great company culture. And we started with the product SendGym, and it was, we got to talk to thousands of business owners about sales and marketing, and that was our first product. And in doing that process, we realized there's another huge gap that small businesses struggle with, which is the employee engagement, right? Like if you're hiring the blue collar worker for $15 to $20 an hour, the reality of it is your business is not unique. And there's a really good chance that if they don't want to show up to work today and they get fired for whatever reason, that they can find another job within 3 or 4 days, right? Like you can go down to the gas station that's right by my house and get $15 an hour for standing behind the counter. So, what is it that's keeping them there? Why should they try really hard to impress you and to do a really good job for you you have to have intangibles that set your business apart from the others. So Automate Motivate really helps do that, and it systematizes it, and it helps you say like, okay, what are the things that like an amazing employee would do versus my average employee? And it gives points for those things that the amazing employees do, and it helps those average employees want to be amazing, and they get points for that, and then they can use those points to redeem them for amazing rewards that they actually define and want and choose. And what that does is that when they go to quit your job, yeah, you might not be able to pay them anymore, but they think, hey man, this was a really good place to work. And like, if I go work down the street for the same wage, like I'm not going to replace this culture. I'm not going to have fun like this. I'm not going to have a leaderboard to look at. I'm not going to be jawing with my friends about who's winning. And so it gamifies the workplace and just makes it a fun place to work and rewards the employee for the behavior you're looking for.
Company culture, big thing.
Yeah.
ChickfilA. So
Perfect.
we just talked about this. We were down in South Carolina, and we talked about companies that Zappos this year with doing that. Amazon pretty much is a pretty good company culture. I mean, everybody may not agree with that. They are a very big company, so you can't keep everybody happy and sure. But ChickfilA is a very big company, and their sales per unit are like 6.2 million each. Which is staggeringly good for how many there are. Yes, there's more McDonald's than there are Chick-fil-A. However, there is a ton of more turnover at McDonald's than Chick-fil-A. And the company culture of Chick-fil-A itself has become an asset tool for people like in my business trying to hire a trade. Because certainly we expect a little bit different from them. We expect a little bit more from them. At the same time, we reward them a lot more with a lot better compensation package. But having things like this in place, you have that extra layer. Yes, health insurance benefits are important, but they've always been important.
Right.
It's been around forever. But what extra things are we as business owners putting into place as incentives for our employees? Yes, you can work for a carpet cleaning company, get paid commission, but that's where it just ends. And that's that's fulfilling financially, but that's not fulfilling, from a heart standpoint and from a caring standpoint and from an emotional standpoint. I learned years ago when I ran a large carpet cleaning franchise that I would spend my evenings at the end of the day many, many times during the week being a therapist, an unpaid, unqualified therapist that would be out there back at the dock talking to my guys and trying to back them off the ledge because they're about ready to quit, about ready to go out. And that little bit helped a lot, just with a little motivation and say, listen, you're having more problems at home that are affecting this. Your real problem is that unless you fix whatever concerns that are at home, it doesn't matter. You come into work, you're just bringing that into work with you. I know, I've been there, taken the ride and brought it back. So those problems exist. If you have things in place like this to help people, to help employees have a better culture with the ownership or the management of a company, I would think that would be just a huge, huge bonus. I don't know how else to describe it.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the new features that we have coming is going to be the ability to gather employee feedback on a daily basis. It's going to be a simple question. Hey, how did you feel about coming to work today, right? And we're going to be able to display these results, but also predict, hey, these are the employees that are struggling, whether that's at home, whether that's at work. But to your point, like if you understand that, you're able to intervene and possibly save that person or help that person before it becomes an issue to where, hey, they just quit. I had no idea. I was blindsided. I was too busy. And then, you're scrambling to replace someone. So tools like this are becoming extremely valuable. They're going to become more and more prevalent in the workplace because employers are realizing when the labor pool is small and it's highly competitive, like you've got to do something to stand out. Otherwise, you're going to get the bottom of the barrel every time, and you're going to constantly struggle.
So I'm thinking about something. We were also talking about this, and it was an experiment. I forget who the speaker was, and I wish I could give him credit because it was really good. And we talked about, I think it was just the general, whoever ran the convention. We talked about what was more important, customers, operations, or technicians. And it turned out that everybody unanimously agreed, which is a good sign, that employees were the biggest asset because without them, it doesn't matter what happens. When these employees are not happy and are not fulfilled, they don't feel like they are making a difference and they're frustrated and aggravated, they're going to bring that into the house with the customer, especially if you're in the service business, which most people that listen to this are. They're going to bring these issues, whether it's with the ownership or the management or somebody at home, into the house. But if you have some type of incentive system like this delivers, you're able to take it and hone it as part of your company culture and just intertwine it. And it gives you a tremendous advantage. If we realize that the most important asset in a business is happy employees, then that should answer everything. If you're not putting things in place to do that, you're falling behind. And some of the people I've worked with in the past, especially if they're owners, and I'm an owner of a business, you're an owner of a business, so we're usually generally a pain in the butt. I mean, I'm saying that nicely. I could say it a lot differently than that, but we can be the hardest headed people. Managers are usually a byproduct of what we allow and what we've kind of entwined into them. And then you've got whatever the technicians in the field. And if they have a bad personality, it's do as I do, don't, or do as I say, don't do as I do, it rips everybody down. It doesn't matter how good the person is. My old partner would be the first one to tell you I was this more analytical guy and he was just a people person. But, we wait till it all built up and then he's like, I can't deal with him anymore. And it was done. And you couldn't, it was just.
No saving it.
Why did John lose his mind? What was he so mad about? Well, he never got mad. So he never got upset. He never handled anything. He's a wonderful guy, but he waited till he was ready to just explode. Like he couldn't take another inch of hot air.
Right.
And that was it. And if you have these things in place to be able to really cut down on all those adversarial things that can happen day to day, it just makes a world difference. I was an employee for years. I'm sure you were. You worked for somebody.
Yep.
And you know that at the end of the day, yes, money was nice and money's important, but it's definitely not the all-end-all. I'd rather be paid decent and treated very well than paid very well and treated like shit. I have no other way to say that.
Yeah, I do a webinar on this topic, and it's funny that you mentioned that because I mentioned ChickfilA in my webinar, and I also have a stat in the webinar that says they interviewed millennials, and they said that again, I want to say it's almost like 90% of millennials would rather make $40,000 a year at a job that they thought was interesting than make $100,000 a year at a job that they considered boring. And I almost fell out of my chair at that statistic because, I probably wouldn't have chosen that. But, I mean, it just shows you, like you said, money is not everything. And, like, people are really changing. It's not just, hey, put up with it, shut up, get your job done, collect a check. Like, people are really looking for an experience that's different.
Well, your customers are looking for an experience that's different. That's why they hire you.
Yeah.
Anybody can clean carpet. I've got the domain NewJersey'sBest.com, and somebody will ask me on a regular basis, are you really New Jersey's best carpet cleaner? I says, as far as you are concerned, I am. I'm the best guy cleaning rugs in New Jersey. No, I've got 5 friends around me that do equally good work. It just depends on if they're choosing my company for what we offer and all the extras we try to bring along with it to separate ourselves. And that's why people hire us. But that's why people come to work for us, too. That's why people decide, hey, I want to go work with New Jersey's Best or whoever it happens to be because I hear they're really good to work with. I can go on Indeed. And by the way, we can get graded people. So if you're not sure about it, as business owners, employees can grade you. And it can really affect your pool of people you can hire. I had a client, not to go around in circles, that he was having a tough time retaining people. So I looked at this, his first thing I do, I go online and say, oh, let's see what the kind of reputation. It was horrible. And I'm like, dude, if people see this and they're anywhere near as savvy as I am, most of them are much more savvy, this is why you have a problem. You're picking the bottom of the barrel. You're picking the worst of the worst because good people will not come to work with you. They don't care. They know you're just going to be a giant pain. And what you just said made all the sense in the world. They'd rather make $40,000 and be happy than $100,000 and be miserable. And my generation, which is up near 50, we were more, let's see what's in it for us, make as much money as we can, maybe diversify that into something else, maybe put some investments together, whatever that was. But that's not the way the generation is. And as you know, when you manage people that are in the hireable generation, the millennial generation or younger, they want some meaning. And I'm a big Simon Sinek fan. I don't know if we've talked about this before, but Simon truly has it mastered. He's a great leadership mentor, a brilliant human being. But he put out a great video on YouTube that really described it. And he said, if you can't get into what builds their value and their value system, you're going to have a hard time hiring. And if you can't handle it yourself, you have other people in the place that can handle it, because that's the future, and you have to accept that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And going back to the Chick-fil-A thing, people say, well, like, I'm a carpet cleaner, I'm a fast food restaurant, I can't hire these good people. My job's not sexy. People don't want to do this. It's not an interesting job. But you take that Chick-fil-A, McDonald's example, and I mean, they're hiring from the same labor pool. There's nothing different about who they're hiring, but they have, like you said, from the bottom to the top, it's different. They've got a different pool they're recruiting from because their reputation's different. Then they've got a better training program, and then they've got a culture when they get to the restaurant that's different, right? And so all these things just build up, and all of a sudden they're delivering a far different customer experience with the same exact people. So, don't use that excuse as a business owner. I've done it before, but it's not, hey, I can't hire good people. Well, people are out there and they're hiring them, but you got to look at yourself a lot of times.
Sometimes the mirror can be your best friend. So how can this benefit, since you have a tremendous advantage coming from the cleaning industry and knowing how this works in it, how does this system work for, say, a carpet cleaner? I know I've always said a carpet cleaner in Boise, Idaho is the same carpet cleaner in Miami, Florida. They just have a different market, but they have the same pool of customers. They might think about things different, but who knows their customers better than you that live there? How can this system work with people like that could really benefit them, and just tell them a little bit more about it? And, of course, we'll get into how they can find out a little bit about it afterwards.
Yeah, so it's going to just allow you to define those tasks that add value to your business. For example, getting a Google review, upselling something, referring a new customer, referring a new employee that stays for 6 months. All these things that as business owners we wish we could get more of. It helps align incentives with the employee. So when they do these things, they can claim it on their mobile app real fast, and then they get points for it. And they can actually define what rewards they want to earn. There's no limit. They can say, I want to go on a vacation, I want a paid day off, I want a gift card, whatever it is. They define that, and then they can use those points towards it. And it becomes very fulfilling for them because they're not just getting a $50 bonus in each paycheck that disappears after tax. They don't see it. So what we found is, like, this has become way more motivating and helped create a way better culture than we ever imagined.
That's awesome. That's awesome. How can our listeners find out a little bit more? Obviously, I'm going to put in the show notes some more information. And, first of all, anything Josh or these guys have put together is remarkable, not great, remarkable. If you don't understand the difference, I recommend you go look it up in the encyclopedia or anything online. There's a big difference between something that's remarkable. To me, remarkability is something that's so unique that has to command attention. It has to be part of what you do. It has to be part of you. Sort of like, God forbid, you get a cut, you have to stitch it up. It's sort of like the stitches have to be able to hold it all together. It's a big part of it. And that's what, Chris always talks about being remarkable. And I think the products are remarkable because things still tell us it's remarkable. I believe in getting fine products that I believe are really good. I don't believe in getting fine products that don't. I never have them on the show. But I know your stuff works, and it stands on a very solid reputation by the people in the back. So please tell our listeners a little bit more about it.
Yeah, sorry about that. You cut out there a little bit, Rob. But they can check us out at automatemotivate.com. And they can book a demo. We'll do a live demo with them. There's also a short video demo there, so they can watch it if they don't want to interact with anybody, like we talked about. It's not one of those things you fill out a form and we're going to harass you. It's all, hey, you can watch the demo, or you can fill out a thing and choose a time for a demo that works for you. So if you're interested in having a great company culture and you're trying to manage it with spreadsheets and remembering and reminding people, I felt like as the CEO of my small business, I'm just a chief reminder officer. It's just constantly reminding people, hey, did you do that? Did you do this? Hey, make sure you do this. Make sure you do that. This takes all that away, doesn't make you nag them. And so check it out. I mean, it's free to check out. Go to automatemotivate.com.
Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate your time so much today, and thank you for spending it. I know when, again, I talked to Josh, and then I spoke to you and found a little bit more about it. Obviously, we went into detail on Send Gym, and that's also another great product you should look into highly. It gives you a tremendous, and I'll use the word remarkable advantage over your
Yeah.
competitors that are not doing it. When I saw what this thing did, it floored me.
Yeah.
Having a full circle of services that can help, and again, like I talked about being the podcast, have just a piece of the pie that this is done. This is the automated systemization of your business. This is the business you're in today. We often say that companies like Stanley Steamer and ChemDry, they're carpet cleaners. No, they're in the business of cleaning somebody's carpet, but they're in the business of marketing the fact that they clean those carpets. And those types of things. And your business is no different. That's the way business will be done today. If you've done what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always got, or worse. You're going to have somebody come along that is going to learn about these concepts and really take over the market. And unfortunately, sometimes you can end up being casualties. So make sure you take care of these things in advance and make sure you prepare correctly by learning more about programs like this. Daniel, thanks so much, my friend. I appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, Rob.
You got it, brother. Thanks.
All right, bye-bye.
I think we should be good.